Hi, my name is Rumi. Welcome and welcome back to Start Pages. Today I'm going to be reviewing To Steal a Throne by Gabi Burton, and I'm very excited because this was one of my anticipated releases, and I'm really glad. I liked it. I really loved it. I'm really glad it worked out. So this is a YA fantasy. I'm going to read the synopsis and then we're going to get into the review. Her magic feeds on lies. His magic could destroy her. Mira Kyler runs the court of Verde from the shadows. Ever since she helped her half-brother Luke cheat his way into the role of Verde's leader, she's used her lie-powered magic to collect secrets from members of the court, then use them as blackmail to keep her brother in power. But when newcomer Cadron Vale shows up and challenges Luke's leadership, he threatens the stability Mira has worked so hard for. Cadron also has magic that can detect the precise nature of someone else's power with a single touch. If Cadron so much as brushes against her, everyone will discover that Mira is the one who's been manipulating the court for years. As Cadron and Luke compete in 3 deadly challenges called the Trials, Mira realizes that no matter who wins, she'll be stuck serving a mediocre man who doesn't deserve to be in charge. She's done hiding in the shadows. She wants power of her own. To get it, she'll have to betray both her own brother and Cadron, but the fiercer the competition gets, the more Mira realizes that the one boy who could destroy everything is the one boy she might not be able to resist. So as I'm filming this video, it's April 7th, and today is the release date for To Steal a Throne. Thank you to Bloomsbury for the arc of this book. Let me get into the review. I was drawn into the story and attached to Rhaenyra from the very first chapter. I highly doubt that there's anything she could do to change my feelings on her. Personally, I found every aspect of To Steal a Throne incredible. The construction of the story, the narration, the setting, the magic system, the character work, the relationships, everything was absolutely beautiful. Mira was a very strong character from the beginning, and her development throughout the story, whether that be her motivation, her feelings towards the other characters in the book, positive or negative, the way she went about gaining the skills, the way she thought about stuff. It was like her character was incredibly strong from the beginning, and it only got better as the story went on. So overall, the character work was great. I have a special bond with Rhaenyra. Like I loved Rhaenyra from the very beginning, but the character work overall was amazing. My favorite detail was how Burton managed to write scenes that showed how and why Rhaenyra was the brains behind the operation, and she managed to do that without making Luke seem cartoonishly like idiotic. Like he was incompetent, and it was very clear that he was incompetent, but it wasn't there wasn't ever a time where I'm reading this book and I'm like, okay, it doesn't really make any sense for him to have stayed in power, even if Rhaenyra is manipulating everything behind the scenes. There was never any point where it's like, okay, the dynamic is only set up to give like for there to be a story to tell. Luke's character was great. I didn't like him. I hope he dies. But it worked. It was great. Burton did an amazing job on that. And then Cadron was brilliantly written. I like him as a character, but what I love about him was how obsessed he was with Mira. I love when a man is down bad. And Mira, she deserved it. She deserved it. Both of them are morally gray, and it's very clear there's no apology anywhere in the story, and that's great. The characterization was great throughout the book, not just for the main cast of characters, but the secondary characters were also very well developed, and I liked how Burton used Mira's observations of the other characters, like how she noticed the details she noticed about the characters and how they went about their day, how they interacted with others. That the things that she noticed were like great supplements to their character outside of what we were outright told about them. This thing ties in with the characterization, but I want to talk about the relationship between Rhaenyra and Cadron. I already said I loved it. I already said Cadron was down bad, but the chemistry was off the charts, guys. The chemistry was amazing. The tension was there. And my favorite thing about this, maybe it's because I've been let down by romance in like the last couple months or like the last few books I've read where the characters speak about how they're feeling for like a character would speak would narrate or explain their feelings for another character, but it didn't really match what we saw in the book. To Steal a Throne, what we saw, how the characters how Cadron and Rhaenyra interacted, how their dynamic developed, it matched perfectly with the depth of the words, like how they were describing their feelings for each other. And it made sense for them to fall in love with each other. It wasn't just another plot device, or it wasn't just, okay, let's throw a romance in here for the sake of it, and it took away from other parts of the story. It was great. It was great. The world building was incredibly solid. A very clear picture of the setting was painted, even though Burton didn't spend particularly long building up that aspect of the story, but it was fully developed, to me at least. And I liked how she struck a balance between using exposition and the narrative to build, to like flesh out the world. The magic system was especially intriguing, and it was very well explained, whether it be Ramira telling us about it or we seeing through her eyes other characters use their powers. Great. I feel like I know everything that I needed to know. The last thing I want to say is, even though I gave this book 5 stars, the final scene, like the last chapter that sets up for the sequel, it was a bit underwhelming when compared to the tension that I was feeling throughout the rest of the book. It wasn't bad, it just wasn't up to the standard that was set by everything else that happened. It was kind of flat, and I can't pinpoint why. It just, there was like a steep dive. It didn't go all the way to the bottom. As I said, it wasn't terrible. Like, everything about the book was great, but it wasn't on the same level. And then, speaking of setting up for the sequel, I didn't know this wasn't a standalone. I thought this was a standalone. I didn't know it wasn't a standalone. And I'm going to have to sit with the realization of how long I'm going to have to wait for the sequel. But it's fine. It's fine. A good book is worth the wait. But that's all I have to say. Yeah. Big up Gabi Burton. I like it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Once again, thank you to Bloomsbury for the art. And regarding liking, commenting, and subscribing, do what you want. Bye.